The crystalline throne room of the Valerian Empire stretched endlessly before Harry, its walls shimmering with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed like a living heartbeat. He stood alone in the center, his worn exploration suit a stark contrast to the ethereal beauty surrounding him. Above him, on a throne that seemed carved from frozen starlight, sat Queen Zylera, her four eyes studying him with an intensity that made his skin crawl. "Are you alone, human?" Her voice echoed through his neural translator, carrying undertones of something he couldn't quite identify. Curiosity, perhaps, or pity. Harry straightened his shoulders. "My partner Jasmine is waiting on our ship. If you're asking if I came to this audience alone, then yes." The Queen's head tilted in a gesture that seemed almost human. "That is not what I mean, and you know this." Her silver fingers drummed against the armrest. "You are the third human delegation we have encountered in this quadrant. Each time there are only two of you. Sometimes three. Never more. Are you the last of your kind?" A bitter laugh escaped Harry's lips before he could stop it. The sound seemed to surprise the assembled Valerian courtiers, their translucent bodies rippling with what his translator interpreted as discomfort. "Your Majesty, there are 9 billion humans in our home system alone." The throne room fell silent. Even the bioluminescent walls seemed to pause their eternal dance. "That cannot be." Queen Zylera rose from her throne, her towering form descending the steps with liquid grace. "We have explored 17 human vessels. None carried more than 5 individuals. We assumed your species was on the brink of extinction, traveling in desperate scattered groups." Harry felt a smile tugging at his lips. This was the moment he'd been trained for, the reason the Exploration Corps had sent him and Jasmine so far from home. First contact protocols had prepared him for many scenarios, but not quite this one. "Your Majesty, those weren't colony ships or military vessels. They were exploration craft. Small crews are more efficient for deep space reconnaissance." "Efficient?" The Queen's voice carried a note of disbelief. "You send your people into the void in groups so small they couldn't even form a proper hive mind. What manner of cruelty is this?" "We don't have hive minds." The Queen stopped 3 meters away from him, close enough that Harry could see the fractal patterns shifting beneath her translucent skin. "Impossible. Consciousness cannot exist in isolation. The Valerian Empire spans 2,000 worlds, and we are one mind. The Cortex Collective controls 500 systems joined in perfect unity. Even the barbaric Threxians share thoughts across their warrior clans." She gestured toward him. "How does your species coordinate? How do you share knowledge, emotion, purpose?" "We talk," Harry said simply. "We write. We teach, we argue. We learn from each other. But we remain separate, individual." The Queen's 4 eyes widened in what his translator interpreted as horror. "You are alone. Each of you. Trapped in your own mind, unable to touch the thoughts of your companions. No wonder you travel in such small numbers. You cannot bear the isolation of larger groups." "It's not isolation," Harry protested. "It's independence, freedom." "Freedom?" The Queen's laugh was like wind chimes in a storm. "You call your prison freedom? Human. Do you know what we do with Valerians who are born without the gift of connection? We consider them afflicted, broken. We devote enormous resources to healing them, connecting them to the greater whole." Harry felt anger stirring in his chest. "And if they don't want to be connected?" "Want?" The Queen seemed genuinely confused. Why would anyone choose to be severed from the symphony of shared existence? To be alone with only one's own thoughts, one's own fears, one's own mortality? She moved closer. "Is this why you explore?" "Because the loneliness of your existence drives you outward, seeking something you cannot name." "Maybe," Harry admitted, surprising himself with his honesty. "Or maybe we explore because each of us sees the universe differently. 9 billion perspectives, 9 billion different ways of understanding reality. When Jasmine looks at a nebula, she sees mathematical beauty. I see a painting. Both views are true. Both are valuable. If we were connected, if we shared one mind, we'd lose that diversity." The Queen was silent for a long moment. Around them, the Valerian courtiers rippled with what Harry now recognized as deep thought propagating through their collective consciousness. "You are either the bravest species we have encountered," the Queen finally said, "or the most tragic. Perhaps both." She extended a hand, her fingers hovering near Harry's temple. "I could gift you connection, let you feel what it means to be part of something greater, to never be alone again." Harry gently pushed her hand away. With respect, Your Majesty, I'm not alone. I have Jasmine. I have my crew back home. I have my family, my friends, my species. We may not share thoughts, but we share something else. Choice. Every connection we make is deliberate. Every relationship is chosen. That makes them precious. Even when those connections fail, even when you disagree, when you hurt each other, when you die and leave others behind, especially then, Harry said quietly. Because we know that nothing is guaranteed. Every moment with someone we care about is a gift, not a given. The Queen returned to her throne, her massive form settling into place. Your species terrifies me, human. 9 billion minds completely isolated yet somehow functioning, building starships, creating art, exploring the cosmos. She leaned forward. What happens when 9 billion separate perspectives disagree? Harry thought of Earth's bloody history, its wars and conflicts. But he also thought of its art, its science, its slow, painful progress toward something better. We argue, we fight, sometimes we destroy each other. He met her gaze. But sometimes we find common ground. We build something none of us could have built alone. Not because we share one mind, but because we share one goal. And what goal could possibly unite 9 billion isolated minds? Harry smiled. The same one that brought me here. To see what's beyond the next star. To understand what we don't know. To meet someone like you and learn that loneliness isn't what we thought it was. Queen Zilara rose again, and this time she approached Harry with something like reverence. Your species should not work. By every law of consciousness we understand, you should have destroyed yourselves or gone mad eons ago. She placed a hand on his shoulder. Yet here you stand, crossing the void in tiny ships, each of you a universe unto yourself. Are we granted passage through your territory? Harry asked. You are granted more than passage, the Queen said. You are granted our respect. And perhaps our envy. She looked toward the crystalline ceiling, toward the stars beyond. We are many minds thinking as one. You are many minds thinking as many. I am not certain which is the greater achievement. As Harry walked back toward the docking bay where Jasmine waited, he couldn't help but smile. The Valerians thought humans were isolated, alone in their individual minds. They didn't understand that being separate didn't mean being alone. He activated his communicator. Jasmine, you're not going to believe this conversation. Her voice came through immediately, warm and familiar. Try me. And in that moment, Harry understood something the Queen never would. Connection wasn't about sharing every thought. It was about choosing to share your thoughts with someone who chose to listen. That was the human way, and it had carried them to the stars.